Are you the one that gets the plans out of the group chat and into an actual restaurant? Let me help you out. I'm Brandy Fullwood, host of Seattle Eats, and I gotta say, this podcast is for you. Every week I talk to chefs, critics, industry people about the best places to eat in Seattle, so you always know where to go next. Listen to Seattle Eats on the KUOW app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Seattle is no stranger to the spotlight. Between the ferries, Pike Place Market, the Space Needle, there are a lot of reasons Hollywood directors love to cast this city.
If you've just tuned in, we're talking to Sleepless in Seattle.
That's a very nice hat you're wearing, and I don't mean that in an Eddie Haskell kind of way.
Oh, we're moving to Seattle.
No, it doesn't sound right.
Back in Seattle's film heyday during the late 80s and early 90s, the film industry here kept thousands of people very busy.
But Seattle's dream of becoming Hollywood North eventually fizzled. Today, most films set in Seattle aren't actually filmed here. That's because Washington State's tax incentives for film production are weaker compared to British Columbia and states like Georgia. That's pushed Seattle to find other ways of capitalizing on its unique on-screen charms. Instead of feature films, it's betting big on commercials, and it seems to be working.
We're the ones who turn ideas into action.
This is Booming. I'm Joshua McNichols.
And I'm Monica Nicholsberg. Today, how did Seattle's feature film industry end up on the cutting room floor? And what would it take to bring back its golden era? That's coming up.
They tell me you want to be a picture maker.
Yes, sir, I do.
Why? This business, it'll rip you apart.
Monica, I have a theory about why so many films are actually set in Seattle.
Okay, what's that?
It's that Seattle is seen as a place where you can sort of leave your past behind and reinvent yourself. And it's on the edge of the map, you know? It's like people see it as like way out there. Nobody cares what you do out there.
I think that's true. And I also think Seattle is moody. Seattle has a personality. It's not just like a bland place. It's a place where if you have a point of view and something you're trying to say, it can enhance that. Yeah,
and because it's supposedly raining all the time, I guess we become very introspective because we have no way to go outside and meet other people.
That's right.
What's your favorite movie scene set in Seattle?
Oh, that's easy. It's the 1999 classic, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the scene where Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles go paintballing in Gasworks Park.
Iconic.
Yes. And what I love about this scene, other than the fact that it really set the bar for the perfect date for all children of the 90s, is that it was actually filmed in Seattle. It was not a set. What's your favorite?
My favorite has got to be Final Destination Bloodlines. Have you heard of this franchise?
I mean, I know Final Destination.
Oh, yeah. It's my favorite series of movies for, people who like horror, but not horror that's too scary.
Okay.
There's this scene where people are dancing in what's clearly supposed to be the Space Needle. And, it's got a glass floor. And, of course, they're sort of stomping on it. And then the glass breaks and everybody falls to their death. It's delightful.
Lovely.
But of course, it's not actually filmed in Seattle. It's filmed in Vancouver, BC. Even the shot that's supposed to be at the base of the Space Needle, they film it in front of the Museum of Vancouver, which looks kind of Space Needle-like,
Yeah, I have this experience all the time now. It's so exciting when we see that something's set in our city and then it's so obviously not filmed here.
Yes.
Like our trees don't look the same. There aren't Seattle's iconic hills. It's too flat. I miss the 90s when we could actually see Seattle on the big screen.
Yeah. And actually seeing Seattle appear in a film like you saw in 10 Things I Hate About You, it feels sometimes like it's part of the past.
Yeah.
But just the other day, there was this commotion down on University Way right outside KUOW's offices, and someone in the office mentioned that they were filming a movie in front of the red light.
The vintage store.
Yes. And I grabbed some recording gear and I headed down to the street.
Pictures up.
Let's roll, please.
So what is the movie that they were making?
The movie is called Friend Thing, It's a coming-of-age story about, like, the last years before the internet took everything over, and it's got some minor stars, Carrie Brownstein from Portlandia.
Oh, yeah.
And it's directed by a guy named Harry Kalbaum. He's known for commercials like Chipotle, Fandango, Band-Aids.
I'm familiar.
But this is his big directorial debut.
This is actually cool to see a movie right in front of my face being filmed. Like, I'm so excited.
So how big of a production was it?
It's an indie film with a small crew of about 40 people. Can I just ask you real quick, what's your name? What do you do?
Sorry, someone's talking in my ear.
My name's Christina, and I work in the art department. We help do the set dressing and the props.
Lock it up, go for a take.
Woo! There were a bunch of cameras, a guy straining under the weight of boom mics.
Watch out behind you, though.
Angela Bernardoni, and I'm a camera assistant, so I'm the second AC.
So I'm the SAG-AFTRA, basically a roving set rep.
Somebody handing out waters, a medic leaning up against a building, somebody applying sunscreen to the actors so they don't get burnt.
They can't apply their own sunscreen?
I guess not.
I'm Jasper. I am a set PA.
I'm Dave Drummond. I'm the location manager.
Kaylina, I'm the makeup designer. Nancy Leonardi is our hair designer, and we're tag teaming everything together.
Good take.
All right, nice.
Yeah. That's a count reset.
Hey, Maxie.
It always amazes me how many people it takes to make a movie. A lot of people in my hometown near LA actually worked in the film industry. And there's all these jobs that you wouldn't even think of. Like my friend's dad was a pyrotechnics expert for movies.
Oh, that's cool.
It was pretty cool. And it's not just people who are working directly on the film. There are a lot of jobs that are created around a movie set. Hotels, restaurants, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's why people say this industry is so valuable, you know? And I can't help but think, every time I see a movie or a TV show about Seattle that wasn't filmed here, did the city and all those supporting businesses just lose out on a whole bunch of money?
Right.
To find an answer, I interviewed the head of Seattle's Office of Film and Music. His name's Chris Swenson. He was at the shoot, watching from the street when I was there, and he's this tall, friendly guy with a gray beard. Everybody seemed to be greeting him like an old friend because he used to work with him back when he was part of Seattle's film industry. I brought him into the station for an interview. Chris Swenson, thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here.
You know, when I go out on the street, when a film production is happening, everybody seems to know you. Why is that?
Well, I've been with the city for almost 20 years in this position or a similar position. And before that, I was a freelance art director in film for about 15 years.
Okay.
Many of those folks that I worked with back when I was freelance are still doing that work. And many of them were trained by me and others during that time.
Every movie I see that's set in Seattle these days is not in Seattle. Why?
It is almost every movie. You're right. I actually just watched a movie the other day called The Last House. Have you heard of this?
No, I never heard of it.
It's about an alien attack through rain. And of course, they set it in Seattle because it rains in Seattle, right?
Supposedly all the time.
Supposedly all the time. In this movie, for sure, all the time. I didn't see where it was filmed, but it definitely was not filmed in Seattle. So Seattle is, for some reason, a really popular place to set a story. Whether it's a Christmas movie or a love, triangle or an alien movie, for some reason Seattle has that kind of iconic feel and look to it. But the reality of production work around the world right now is everyone is going to the place where they can save the most. They want to put every dollar on the screen however they can. So it's a race towards a cheaper location. And if they can get away with filming at a place that's going to be cheaper or more cost effective or more turnkey for them with studio space or resources, they will do that and then, pretend it's in a different location. And sometimes that's Vancouver, sometimes that's Toronto. But also a lot of work is going overseas because it's very cheap. It's much cheaper to do it over there instead.
Yeah. When did the film industry peak in Seattle? Like, what was the peak year for film productions actually being filmed here?
Seattle, interestingly, has a almost 100-year history of being a location for film production. And it has gone kind of in waves on popularity. And one of the things that has helped it is we're pretty sexy. We're really good looking on camera. And you can get a lot of diverse locations in a very short drive away or trip away from Seattle itself. And I would say in the late 80s to early 90s was really the peak of the major narrative work in Seattle. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, independent films began a resurgence here with directors like David Russo and Lynn Shelton and Megan Griffiths. The ecosystem here was really strong. So we saw a big uptick then.
How big was the industry here at that time? Like, how many jobs?
Generally, feature films and film production work is if you have a healthy industry and ecosystem, it's in the thousands and sometimes, maybe up to 10,000. So I would say that it was pretty strong back then. Mm-hmm. We were seeing multiple productions at the same time, and they were all pretty big, meaning 100 to 300 crew in that era. And we were able to support that. And in some cases, any region that is doing well in film production, crew that work on films are generally freelance, and they generally go where the work is. Mm-hmm. So we were seeing crew come in from other regions to work in Seattle and our region because of all the work that was here.
How big is the film industry here in Seattle now?
The film industry is healthy in Seattle. I would say that back then it was in the thousands, and I still think we're in the thousands. And I'm thinking across the entire state. We collect data through our permitting process at the city, and about 10 to 15% of what we see are narrative work, and over 50% of what we see coming through our office are commercial and corporate work. It's interesting, feature film and narrative work is really sexy, and it's really fun to work on a narrative with a vision that is creative and art-focused. But commercial work generally pays more and generally is more prevalent here.
Why did we lose film productions in Seattle? I mean, I just saw a film produced in Seattle, but we have nowhere near the numbers that we used to. So why did we lose film production in Seattle?
During Seattle's heyday, we were able to attract production because of good crews and really amazing locations. Around that time, regions began to explore film incentives, which are either cashback or tax credits on dollars that you spend in their region. And so as a production, if I am spending $1 million in a region and I look across the border and they're going to give me 10% back for spending that there, I'm going to go there. I may even rewrite the story to set it in that location. So we started seeing that begin around the country and across the border, primarily in British Columbia. And that's when we started to see movies go away. That was in the early to mid 90s. That really took hold, and other regions started to do the same thing to be really competitive. Washington State didn't start our incentive program until 2006. So we got a really late start.
Do we give as many incentives as Vancouver, BC does?
No, our incentive is capped at $15 million a year. BC has no cap, so they can spend hundreds of millions of dollars. If the work comes to them, they have the ability to offer the tax credit to them.
What does having so low a cap mean in terms of the kinds of films we can attract?
It means that we have a sweet spot in the size, on the production budget size of productions that we can attract. And our sweet spot really is that independent feature film or independent or smaller episodic series. We can absolutely attract those, just not the $40 million, $100 million, $200 million Superman movies.
Is one reason you can attract commercials because they fit underneath that spending cap as well?
Commercials don't rely as much on a film incentive. I mean, commercials are, you have a client and they have a product and they need to give an awareness of that product through a commercial. So they've assigned a budget for it, and they can go out and, it's a little bit more direct. It's not as critical, but it is a really big tool in us marketing and selling the region as a good place to film.
So you've said that you're focusing on trying to attract commercials here, and it sounds like that's an area where you have had some success. What's an example of a commercial filmed here?
I just visited a commercial production for a car. The production company was from out of town. They hired over 100 local cast and crew and shot all over the city in really fun locations and outside of the city.
Like driving around on city streets?
Driving around city streets, crossing the mountain, going up trails. The story was about a group of young people who were filmmakers, and they were racing to get to a drone show. And so they set up the drone show on Don Armini Park in West Seattle, across from the skyline, and filmed there for about a day and a half. And that's a really great example of the type of commercials that come to Seattle that we like to see and that we like to attract.
What else does a city get out of having a film or commercial films made here? Like, why does it matter?
Film production is fascinating because it is not just about the jobs of the people who work on the film set. Every production is a kind of a little city into itself, and they move around from location to location depending on where they need to do or get what they need to get. And they're sleeping in hotels, they're working with construction crews, they're buying lumber, they're buying meals. They are hiring vendors for various types of activities on the set. Like the ecosystem is pretty broad, and the money that is spent on a film production, only a part of it actually goes to the crew itself. So if you spend $1 million, 80% of that could be to all of the vendors that you are working with that contribute to the product of the film. So it's a interestingly broad economic ecosystem that it supports. And it's also kind of considered clean. So the production comes in, does its work, cleans up after itself, moves on to the next location, and then has left, spent a lot of money while they're there. So it's a positive economic benefit in that way too.
What is Seattle doing now to attract more films?
Seattle has a film office within the Office of Economic Development.
That's where you work.
That's where I work. That's what I do. The reason that it's in the Office of Economic Development is while the product of art is great, it's really not about the art. It's about producing the art. So we don't pay attention to the content or the product itself. We just want to make sure that people are being hired when they work. So our office is a policy and initiative office, as well as a permitting office. For permitting, it's almost free to permit in Seattle for film productions.
Is that unusual?
It is unusual, yeah. Fees haven't changed in, I think, 30 years. It's $25 a day to film in Seattle, intentionally to make it as affordable as possible so you can put the product on the screen and not, just to rent parking spaces or something like that. And we offer a concierge service. So we do all the coordination for the producers so they don't have to talk to 10 different departments to get their permits. So we do all that for them.
That's got to save them some time and labor.
It does. And we've seen other cities around the country and the region model their permit process after hours because it works really well, and it brings and it keeps productions here.
How does commercial production work change the kind of industry that we have here as opposed to narrative films?
Commercial work is faster turnaround, shorter timeline, and generally higher wages. So if I'm working on a commercial, I may do 4 days of prep and 3 days of shooting, but I may make as much as I would working for a month on a narrative film.
Wow.
But film crew generally are looking for more stable work. Gig work is hard. You are always looking toward your next job. So narrative work, both feature film and especially episodic, are really, really sought after because you can guarantee that next 6 months I'm going to be working, even if it's at a less wage than I would see in a commercial.
Are there certain like idiosyncratic jobs that you'd only do on a commercial that you don't do in a narrative film?
There's a different way that you approach the art. So in a commercial, If you're filming a storefront, that glass better be spotless. In a commercial, you are making it shiny and look good for whatever the thing is you're there for. Narrative, you probably don't want it spotless. You want it a little bit dirty, a little bit more real. You want the newspaper to be kind of haphazardly thrown on the table rather than very neatly in the corner.
So the commercial film industry supports more window washers.
More art crew skilled in window washing. How's that?
Okay. Are we settling if we just focus on commercials and not films, not narrative films?
You know, that's a really great question. And I've been asked it in different ways. Like, are you ignoring, are you now actively not, as the city, looking to, attract feature film or narrative work? No. We are focusing on commercial work as a type of film production that we see a lot of. We know we can make an influence on coming here, and that we know we'll be hiring at high wage rates. That strengthens the industry, and that strengthens the crew base, and that grows the industry the best way we can during the current climate. And we love narrative work. We love independent filmmakers. I just presented and kicked off the 48-hour film program, which is a competition for independent filmmakers to make a short film in 48 hours. We're hosting, I think, 4 independent feature films in Seattle right now. So no, we're not slighting or ignoring or minimizing or marginalizing any other type of work. We can't advertise ourselves to do everything in an effective way. So we need to choose one way to do that. The thing we're doing right now is really prioritizing commercial work.
Do you think we'll ever go back to our feature film peak? And do you think we should want to?
I think that the current evolution of the industry is way up in the air. Like what types of films are being made, how they're being watched. I don't know that it's kind of like, I'll reference, the way that radio used to work, where there was a band who got popular because you listened to them on the radio, and that sold records, and then they made a living. And now that doesn't work that way. It's just not how we consume music. And I think that we're in a place right now in the film industry that's all changing. So, I don't know that we'll ever go back to we made a big movie in Seattle, and 20 years later we're still selling T-shirts for it. What I would say is that what we do have really great opportunity on are things like the Friend Thing movie, where it's set in Seattle or filmed in Seattle by local creatives, and that work gets out there as something to consume or to go see. Like that's kind of the future that I see, is that it's going to be more diverse, potentially more independent, and just a different way of watching it.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for talking with us.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
We'll be right back with more Booming after a quick break.
The midterm elections are drawing near, meaning fact-based reporting is more important than ever. I'm Libby Dankman, host of Soundside, where we bring you news and conversation rooted in the Pacific Northwest. We delve beyond the headlines to bring you different perspectives on stories that impact your life right here in Washington State. And we're easy to find, Monday through Thursday at noon and 8 p.m. on KUOW 94.9 FM. Or you can listen anytime on the KUOW app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back. And Monica, I'm curious what you thought of my conversation with Chris Swenson about the state of the film industry here.
I thought it was really interesting, and it answered a lot of the questions I have when I see so many things that are supposedly here but not here. And he brought up a lot of things that the city is doing, like the low-cost daily permits and the concierge service. But at the end of the day, we're still not getting, 10 Things I Hate About You, the big popular teenage rom-com with the heartthrob like Heath Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously something that places like Vancouver are doing is working, or it's something that we're not doing. What is that difference, and why can't Seattle achieve the same kind of movie set here?
Well, it's a matter of scale. I mean, we both have programs that reimburse film productions for some of the costs of that production, but Vancouver just offers a lot more money in that, they've got a cauldron of money. It's and it's unlimited. It's like the pot that never runs out of oatmeal, And we've got like this little bowl that we're able to offer them of like,
Just
here's a
an
little
Oliver
money.
Twist bowl.
Of movie oatmeal money.
Well, but why? Why are we being so stingy with the oatmeal?
Well, I mean, we've got a lot of budget constraints in Washington right now. We've got a lot of like culverts that we have to build so that salmon can get up their rivers, And even though people who love the film industry here and want to see it grow say, look, you spend a little bit and you get a lot more in return, there's still a cash flow issue, right? Like, where are we going to get the cash? And so we've got a lot of competing priorities. And this is one that, legislators have decided they want to support it a little bit, but just not a lot.
Got it. Okay. And so without a legislative change, this is probably going to be the status quo in Seattle?
I think so.
Okay. Well, here's to indie films. Thanks for the story.
Yeah, no problem.
That's it for Booming. Thanks for listening.
We got a really cool email from a listener with a great suggestion after our AI scams episode. His name was Rick, and he suggested that people set up kind of a family password so that if you get a call from a kid and you're not sure if they're real or not or something, they have to know the word, like watermelon or something.
That's a great idea. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And if you have a question about the economy or a suggestion and, how to get more films, how to avoid AI scams, anything that we're reporting on, email us at booming@kuow.org or leave us a voicemail at 206-221-7158.
And thank you to those of you who are donating to the show. Like the film industry, we rely on community support. We're part of the public radio station KUOW, and we couldn't make this show without listener donations. So if you want to be a donor, go to kuow.org/booming. And thanks.
Our producers are Lucy Suchek and Alec Cowan. Our editor is Carol Smith. Our theme is by Alec Cowan, who also does some more of our music. Other music is by Artlist, Blue Dot Sessions, and MusicBed. I'm Joshua McNichols.
I'm Monica Nicholsberg, and we'll catch you next time.
It costs 30% more today to get a college degree than it did 30 years ago.
On top of inflation.
I'm Claire McGrain.
And I'm Teo Popescu. We're co-hosts of Control F, a KUOW podcast that uses data to reveal the hidden stories in our daily lives.
On our latest episode, we dig into the data on college tuition and explain what might keep costs down.
Listen to Control F on the KUOW app or wherever you get podcasts.